Was this wall here part of the system, or is this
No,
built?
this is ours. This is a trail that was built by the park, probably in the late 1940s, early 1950s, to provide access so that we're not walking all over this place. So this is modern.
What's that hole in the bottom?
Hole in the bottom of what?
Do you see that hole in the middle?
There?
No, down.
The fire pit.
Oh, that's the fire pit?
Yeah. I think.
When we get into our full season, we do a tour every 30 minutes. So what that means for us is you really have to keep doing this, because you don't want to be in the way of the tour that's coming in, but you don't want to run over the tour that's right in front of you. And so we have this. So this time of year, it's, you know, and I'm one of those, okay, it's an hour tour, but I got a really interesting group of people and everybody's full of questions. Hey, I'm here for you.
Has anybody figured out what the internal temperature might get to? Like they
Yes.
have in an igloo, they figured that out. What
We
would it be?
have. We
Okay.
actually have. There was quite a study here in the late 80s
Huh.
on Kiva temperatures.
So what did they say?
Oh, they're much warmer.
Than an igloo.
They're cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. Let's look at a Kiva real quickly. And because I have used up all of your time, I tend to go on and on. But remember, it's my first tour, so this is one of the Kivas, but this is a very good example of a Mesa Verde style Kiva, okay, from this time period. As you look at this, we see a big pit. Realize that this had a roof almost 3 feet thick over the top, and it would be totally flat. So if we were here in the 1200s, we would walk right across this, and this makes a courtyard. Okay. One of the things we look at architecturally, and this is part of our big studies that have been going on for the last 4, 5, 6 years, is you've got a Kiva and associated rooms, and we're calling them either households or room blocks. But the Kiva itself is the primary room, but the roof of the Kiva makes your open space. Now, access to any Kiva is going to be down through the center of the roof with a ladder. The best way you can appreciate this, some of you already have, but if you haven't, go to Spruce Tree House. We have 3 reconstructed Kivas, one of which you can go into, and it's about the same size as this one. Kivas are almost always round, whereas the other buildings are almost always rectangular. And we do have some round buildings, like that wonderful tower right up here. That's special. And most of the buildings are rectangular, but the Kivas are almost always round. And that's just what they get. Okay, there probably are reasons. So you go into the Kiva down the ladder with a roof as thick as from a stick. The 6, thank you, this is my pointer. We use the old architectural term pilaster for these. Most Kivas in this Mesa Verde region have 6. Now the one we looked at down there had 4. You'll see one over here on the Mesa top that has 8, but typically it's 6. Those are the roof supports. So the roof of this Kiva started down here and came up to here. Okay? You lay logs around the perimeter and then across. So you start like this with a couple of logs. Then the next course would be like this and like this. So what you have is what we call a crib work. And you have an incredibly strong roof And then, of course, the logs build up. It's all packed with mud, not adobe. A lot of, probably even just trash. And then the top is smoothed off with a thick layer of mud. Okay. So, this is one of the difficult things when you're at Mesa Verde is most of the kivas you see are open. But they were all covered. They are underground chambers. They probably relate back to the beginnings of this culture, the pit houses, which were a multi-purpose home, ceremonial area, everything that people did. By this time, kivas become specialized. There's a real strong tendency to say kivas are ceremonial rooms. Remember what I said earlier? When we don't know what something is, called ceremonial. Okay? But then we've got these storage places in here too. Storage, ceremonial. This is very typical, and one of the things, kivas always followed a design plan. They're round, they have 6 roof supports. Many of them here in the Mesa Verde region have this extra notch. It's always on the south side. Almost always. And right back over here in that southern recess, we call it's on the north. So somebody wants to do something different. Okay. And then you have a fire pit that's just slightly off center. That's what the big pit is. You have a ventilation system. And where these gentlemen are standing, there's a hole. But that's actually an air shaft that draws air from outside, comes down in, makes an L, and comes into the kiva at floor level. Between it and the fire pit is a wall. Sometimes it's just a stone, sometimes it's a masonry wall. We call it a deflector. But what's actually happening here, you have a closed room. You build a small fire in the fire pit. What happens to that air? It warms up. What does warm air do? It rises. In the process of all that, you're creating a convection. And that's drawing air from the outside down in to replenish the air that's rising. So they actually came up with a very sophisticated complete circulation system. So you'll always see this on kivas. Okay? We have a tendency here, we talk way too much about kivas, but they are important. They are very important. And the fact, coming back to our analogies, there are kivas at all of the pueblos today. Today they're used primarily for ceremonial purposes. But if a ceremony isn't going on, or actually the ceremony doesn't take place in the kiva, it takes place in the plaza. All of the preparations take place in the kiva. Well, we think that that's part of this here too. Okay. We also think, based on temperature studies and human nature and practicality, that the kivas in winter months were family quarters. At least many of them were. Some of them here at Cliff Palace were probably what we would call guest kivas, because you have important people coming in from other parts of the region for a ceremony or for trade or for consultation or whatever, or just, hey, how you doing? Well, some of the kivas would be the places that people would gather. So the term kiva actually means gathering place. So as you think of kivas, don't think of them just as a ceremonial place. Think of them as a multi-purpose room. They're the church, the schoolroom, the general hangout. If they had a pool table, it'd probably be the pool hall, whatever. Okay. A lot of work was done, but kivas probably, and the fact that kivas are still in place in pueblos today, that tradition suggests that it's extremely important. We see more kivas per room up in this Mesa Verde region, not just the park, but the Montezuma Valley and so on, in the period from about 1150 to 1300. So kivas became extremely important parts of the architecture, and it's a physical thing, but it reflects some kind of a social use, adaptation, and so on. Okay.
You mentioned a plaza. Where is the plaza?
Well, how brave are you? Walk right here, out here on the center of the plaza. As you look at these places, look that a kiva with its thick roof forms a courtyard, or we might call it a plaza, but let's call it a courtyard. And then surrounding it are a number of domestic rooms, either storage rooms or living space. Okay? And what we see is we see a whole series of components of, and we call them household units, for lack of a better term. So I've gone on long enough about kivas. If you have other questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But I'd like to give you a few minutes, since we are already late, and perhaps some of you are cold, and it's almost lunchtime. But go on up the ladders. You can walk around this other kiva, and if you'd like to go over and look in the tall building, that's the only place in Cliff Palace that we can actually peer into and feel one of the buildings. Sure, you're welcome. Do I know why? No. Oh, we have lots of guesses. The white man's world tends to try to put on.
Not your tent space. Well, that's how you have to think of it. Through an opening in the earth. And that's what that represents. It's also sometimes called the spirit hole, and it's also interpreted as being the connection between this world and the spirit world. So great outdoors.
Just out the door.
Great outdoors.
Okay.
You could compare.
Kids. Sure.
Don't stand up and walk around. I think you crawl in and sit down.
Sure, you just go and go. Yes. There's been a lot of the plaster work that's been done here, and we're putting that in there. Oh, I kind of let this tour just fall apart, but thank all of you.
What is it?
Nothing. I'm nothing. I don't know.
Stabilization crew that comes in, what they do is yesterday was the first day we began the Cliff Palace tours. So last week they came down and they raked and they cleaned and, make it all nice for the summer.
Is this a walkway that we've
This
been
is actually a back door to this
Wow.
kiva. And that goes up with a little staircase into the rooms up there. And many people interpret that as a contact, and that might be a place that you store costumes or you store paraphernalia. And if you're involved in the preparations of a ceremony, there are times when you cannot appear in public. Okay, this would provide a means.
Okay.
About 25% of the kivas here at the park have a second access.
Backstage.
Yeah.
Gonna make an entrance.
Yucca? That's yucca, right?
No, that's yucca, yes.
One foreman.
It's all right, people.
Oh, boy.
It's fun.
But the real focus of Mesa Verde is on these tours.
How many of these? Not this one.
In the summer months,
How old are you? Go ahead and tell me. Really? You have to be in good shape to do this.
those of you that are still right here, you can look up and see part of the original steps, right where your hand is, sir. See those little grooves?
Oh,
Okay, that's part of the original trail.
wow.
Went across this ledge, probably came up the same area we just did.
Gee
Those
whiz.
are the original, we call them hand control holes.
Frightening.
Agile and didn't wait till you get our age and start doing it.
I'll tell you what, I think anybody that's still here at our age, they can go anywhere.
They carried a load of corn
They
up
were in
there?
charge, though. Lord.
Well, within the Pueblo culture, there's an incredible respect for the elders. When we were down at Hopi this past week, we were at this lady's house and they provided a traditional Hopi lunch. But the lady, her daughter worked there. But the reason she was there at that house, that's her mother's house.
No, they didn't
And
get
her
that.
mother and father are both very old. Not the best of health. So she moved in.
Cardiovascular exercise this way.
Take care of her. And she expected that all the grandchildren come over. Now, the tribe itself has, has a social program and, help and so on, but among the Hopi, it's so strong that every family, you take care of each other. If someone's having problems, then a brother or sister, or their kids will, they just pitch in. I mean, the whole sense of family.
Thank you. I hope so.
At this time,
He's filming you coming up.
I hope you don't mind.
Sure, we supposed to wait. No,
Okay,
you're benched.
we're done?
We're done. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Since up here your tongue hanging out, I went back down and came up again.
I should get that fellow's last name. Don?
He said it, I think, at the first.
That was a work. That was beautiful.
It was. It was good. I mean, I had
Passionate about it.
yes. And he when he didn't know, he said he didn't know. And a lot of people just
And
fake
respectful,
it.
too.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the cheesiest continental divide I've ever seen. Mark, I'm going Atlantic, Pacific, Atlantic, Pacific.
Look, there's a cattle guard on the other side.
I know. Where does that water go?
Stand there, let me take a picture. This is sort of like standing on the Greenwich Mean.
Yeah, I know. On the zero.
Here you go, get us all.
It doesn't look like it looks like it's a little higher.
Higher over there. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't actually it. You think? It looks like it might be up there a little.
Well, you can definitely tell that the water's running this way.
Yeah, I think they've made a mistake. I think they've made a mistake.
They. It said 7,275 feet. I imagine it's the elevation that matters.
Yeah, it is,
I
but
can see the road is built up there.
yeah. Well, that little valley must drain to the Pacific.
Yeah.
And this one over here drains to the Atlantic.
Maybe that hump in the road is actually it.
No.
Closed. And
Take your bag, man. You're photographing the ants.
yep.
are two different thermostats, neither of which seem to do anything. It's not a three-person. Sleep on there. Looks fine. Okay, y'all want to go out and walk and play around?
Right here, I'm just photographing the room. This is such a pretty room.
Did you get a real good one of the commode?
No, is it special? It has 10
A little tin box full of all sorts of goodies.
yeah, it's like that, what do they call those, retablos? Those, that tin art?
Right. Tableau.
Are we walking out?
Let's go, we're going out.
Okay. We go.
Let's look at the menu here before we go. I guess it's outside.
This would be the only way out. Okay. Thanks. I'll see you back at the box. Okay. It'll ruin your environment if you walk out on it. We're not going to go to stop and get to I can't get anybody to go back. Hey, Jim, I'll be right back.
Hey, you guys, the square is over there.
You're going the right way.
Is that the square? Oh, it is? Okay. I was wrong. He says it's that way. I'm wrong.
You can take a still.
Yeah, well, I'm shooting film, but oops.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's astounding. Did you get the little thing up at the top?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here it is. Justice causes happiness.
Now let me burn it. Go to exposure. Pop.
Same thing, huh?
Let's see the motto. Obedience casts out fear.
If you come in 5 minutes after the picture begins, you won't know what.
highway department said. Denny said take 277. The highway department. What?
Say that again.
Get your car fixed by a bozo?